Hello, I'm Dale Myler of Myler Bits, and this is my brother Bob Myler. And over the years, we've had a lot of requests to do a series on our combination bits and why we prefer to go from a halter work into the combination versus any other bit. So we're going to start by how we start to prepare our horses into the halter, and then we'll go into some other parts of the series. This will be a 4 or 5 part series because we want to keep it in short segments. So, Bob, do you want to take over here with your halter work?
What we're going to do is talk about the halter work that we like to do, and basically this is the halter work that just pertains to the bitting. We've got a lot of clinicians out there with a lot of good videos on a lot of groundwork and things they do, and we totally support and agree with it. I kind of feel myself, the more I can teach my horse on the ground, the safer it is for me and him, and the easier when we do get in the saddle. So what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is basically what a lot of you already see out there. We're going to do the laterals, the verticals, dropping the head and the back. The only difference we're going to do is where a lot of them will hook their rein right here where they hook their lead rope on. What we do, we kind of make it you might zoom in on this a little bit. We try to make it just a little more of a side pull so he understands it. We personally like the rope holder. It has just a little bit of authority with the smaller and the knots. You can just come in here and hook up in front of that knot and get your side pull action. Or I put me a little ring down here that I like to play with. Okay, basically on the lateral, what we're going to do is basically like they say, except for one thing, we do a little different because we're introducing this to our combination and not going to the snaffle bit. We like to stand right back here, just like if we were in the saddle, okay? Now let me turn him a little bit so you'll be able to see this. I want to show you once without bending him, then I'm going to show you with bending him. Here. What we're going to do is just like we were sitting in the saddle, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to slide my hand down, I'm going to drop out just enough to get his nose coming, and as that comes, instead of coming to my knee or my hip, I'm going to bring my hand right up in front and above the wither. That allows that his head comes around, my arm motion moves with it, so that bit ain't turning and poking him in the face. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. I'm going to get his nose coming, and I want to come right up here. Now the whole idea is he doesn't have to come back and touch my boot. He doesn't have to touch my knee. The whole idea is he softened and gave it to me, and he felt that nose pressure, and he learned how to release that pressure off his nose. Now just like in our combination, coming from here, he's going to feel a little bit from the offside, but a lot of that nose pressure, because of the way we're pulling up and over the wither, you're seeing this tighten up right here. It's just like exactly what it's going to do with the combination bit. Okay? So that's the whole purpose of this program right here, is to get him to understand that nose pressure and how to release it. So when we get to that combination, he will understand that. Now just like they do, you work one side, you work the other side. Well, I'm not going to do that just for time's sake. You would want to work both sides of these and get him pretty nice and soft. That's the whole idea. The next thing we're going to do is go to get the vertical bend. Okay, breaking at the pole we might call that. But again, I'm going to come back here like I was sitting in the saddle, come right down here, and ask him to break at the pole. That there nose pressure was straight on, right around here, just like it was, just the way it's going to feel in the combination. Okay? The thing about the halter, where it's similar to the snaffle, is just 1-to-1. The pressure I put here and here is the same amount. If I have to put 2 pounds here, he's going to feel 2 pounds out there. There's no leverage action with a halter. Okay? And the third thing we like to do is I want to teach him and introduce his pole pressure, which he's going to get in our combination bit. And the fact is, I'm going to ask down here, but the pressure is going to be felt up there. So I'm just going to come in and ask him to drop his head. That's how easy it is to ask a horse to drop his head if we don't have a lot of other things interfering with it. Okay? That little bit of pressure he felt right there. Okay? Now, the last thing we like to do is I like to grasp him right under here, just like he was sitting in the saddle, and ask him with both reins and ask him to back up. Back. I will ask for a verbal, or I might tap his back, or I might ask him for a tap on the chest. Because you got to remember, we just stood there and asked him to break at the pole, never moved. So if I'm going to do the same thing, I've got to give him some sort of cue to tell him we're doing something different. Now, I believe myself, there's another good reason to do these. What we're developing here is a relationship between the prey animal and the predator, which is me. And all these things I just did puts this horse in a vulnerable situation for his flight pattern. When the horses get scared, their first instinct is to flee and run. But not too many horses run too fast when their head's taken away from them here, or they got it between their legs, or when you ask them to back, they can't see where they're going. So all these little deals here are doing several things. It's also building your leadership and your trust with this horse, on top of getting him to understand your different pressure points. Now, even with this halter, there's certain situations like where you're pulling on a halter, where this strap is high on the jawbone, and that's where our curb strap's going to be on the combination. So in reality, this horse with this halter has learned three points of contact, and we're going to deal with the combination, that we're going to add a mouthpiece. I hope that helps a little bit in what we're doing there. Dale, did I miss anything?
Yeah, Bob, I just want to bring up that a lot of people seem to have a misunderstanding about pole pressure. I've had veterinarians and professional people that I've visited with tell me that pole pressure actually releases endorphins, which is a relaxant to the horse. However, it's like anything else, you can't overdo the pressure. But it's a nice point to ask a horse to give from. However, the one thing that I've never understood, and the reason that we prefer to go to the combination bit, is because, as Bob stated earlier, we've got so many really good clinicians out here that are teaching the groundwork. And when you're following the groundwork, you're teaching your horse everything from nose pressure of a halter. So I've never understood why we teach a young horse everything from nose pressure, and just because we put a saddle on his back, we just put a bit in his mouth and start taking hold of his mouth. And this is how we're going to go about showing why we go into our combination bit and the similarities between that halter work and the combination. So I think that we're going to stop this part here, and in part two, we're going to go into the initial adjustment of the combination bit and look at the features that are similar between this halter that Bob's got on and the combination bit that he'll be explaining. So we hope that you'll come back and look at part two. Thank you very much.